Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 36 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Terrible Tim.
And I am your host, Sleepy Brian. As you know, I mentioned many a time about my move. It's in the final stages, and it's draining as ever. So this though, if all goes well, this is my last broadcast from the Glass Enclosed Studios in East Meadow, and I will be moving into Amityville. Ooh. So that will be exciting.
Where the horror shall continue.
Yes. So maybe I'll have to record on the guy's lawn, like.
This is an interesting episode because we were trying to figure out a film to do, and I had suggested, we tossed some things around, I had suggested maybe doing more of a bigger film to kick off the holiday season, and I was looking through Netflix and ran across Gremlins, and I was like, man, that's a perfect movie to kick off the holidays because it does take place during Christmas time.
Yes.
And a lot of people wouldn't consider this a horror film, but at 10 years old, it's a horror
film.
If
you look at a lot of the different sequences and the thing, it mirrors horror movies. If you replace like the Gremlins with a murderer or something, you kind of got it.
Yeah, and it went on to inspire a ton of actual horror films like Ghoulies, Critters, Troll, Leprechaun. All those movies kind of can trace their origins back to Gremlins, so I thought it was appropriate.
Oh yeah, no, I love it, and that's one of my favorites of all time. I mean, from the first time I saw it in the theater, and the countless times on cable. I'm like big into Gremlins, so that was a perfect choice, and it was streaming since all my Blu-rays are packed away. So that was a bonus,
including Paul Blart 2. So we can't give that away right now.
Paul Blart 2 is packed away in one of the boxes.
All right, well, let's get right into it with our first chop. So speaking of Netflix, I caught yet another Stephen King adaptation. That seems like there's one every week these days.
Seriously.
And this one was one of my favorite novellas that came out in one of his collections, and it's called 1922. And I absolutely love the story, so I was very interested in the adaptation. And it's pretty good. It's I do have some caveats to that, but story-wise, it concerns a farmer, his wife, and his son. Obviously, it takes place in 1922, and they're trying to make ends meet. And the father starts entertaining ideas of killing his wife because they have some financial difficulties, and
so he goes just one less mouth to feed. That's a strategy.
Yeah, there's something about and I don't remember the exact details, but she's not gonna let him sell the land or vice versa, or she wants to sell it and he does, and I can't remember. But he even gets his son on his side, and so they concoct a plot to kill his wife and hide her body in a well on the property, and that's all I'll say about it. It's basically a very creepy ghost story, and I liked it in general. I had some very, very cool scenes in it. But there was one thing I could not get past. The lead actor in this, he does a great grizzled old farmer impression. But I could barely understand a word he was saying this entire movie. Oh, no. Literally. Could not understand what he was saying.
Did you put the subtitles on? Sometimes I do that.
Yeah, I probably should have. That probably been the smart thing to do. But if you're watching this and you can understand him, more power to you. I couldn't understand a word that came out of his mouth. But anyway, it was probably realistic in that respect. But.
Yeah, and I guess that's why he maybe convinced his son, because maybe his son thought he said something else.
Yeah. It's still entertaining, and I enjoyed it, and it's a very creepy movie if you can get past the mumbling of the lead character. So.
Interesting. I will have to check it out, because actually I probably won't have there will be a day just between the movie, or actually a day and a half, where I will not have cable, so I'll have to somehow maybe download a bunch of horror stuff and catch up finally. Maybe I'll catch up 2 weeks late for the horror challenge.
And you watched Stranger Things too, right?
I did. I managed to sneak that in amongst with all the stuff going on, I was watching like an episode or two a night, and then I was watching some at work. I was watching an episode during my lunch at work, and then the last 2 episodes, I was figuring I was just gonna watch one episode and leave the last one for the next night, but the last 2 were so good, I kind of blended right into it. So I was up till like 1:30 in the morning a few days ago, having to watch that, and I was just like, I gotta see this. And it's yeah, I know I can't really go into too much because those who haven't seen it, including my awesome co-host there, Tim, has not seen it, so I'll have to just speak in vague terms.
Well, we did watch the first 2 episodes.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, right off the bat though, there's just this. It's up a level from season 1. Season 1 was one of the most incredible seasons of any kind of show, and so just. And no pun, not to just because it's 2, but just, I mean, if you double that, you've got this season. This season just expands on everything you loved about the first one, basically, and it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I watched another season too, and that was of The Exorcist. And I know I'm a little late to the party on these TV shows because it takes me a little while to catch up. I've got such a big backlog. But I really enjoyed the first season of The Exorcist, and season 2, I was kind of wondering which direction they would go because the first season was such a self-contained story arc that I wasn't quite sure how they were going to continue it, and they did a really good job. It's I'm about 8 episodes in, I believe, at this point, and they've managed to take it in some similar but different directions and still keep it entertaining. And man, for a TV show, there's some really, really cool horror scenes in this series. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check out season 1, and season 2 seems to be building on it. Seems to be just as good from a horror standpoint. And
that streams, right? That's a streaming.
Yeah, I'm watching it on Hulu right now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you can catch it on Hulu. And I also started watching, at least watched the pilot of The Mist, which is now on Netflix, and that's season 1.
Okay, that's cool.
And that was one of my favorite, also another one of my favorite Stephen King short stories. And I think I listened to the audiobook at one time. They had a great, there was a great audio adaptation of The Mist that came out that had a lot of sound effects and stuff that they dramatized. It was really cool. And then, of course, I really enjoyed the movie. And the series obviously allows itself to take more time building up the characters that will eventually be trapped by the mist and stuff. So in that respect, I really liked it. And the pilot is a little short on the horror segment because it's taking its time to establish those characters, but I think that'll really pay off in the end. And then we had some, you found some cool news about some zombie news.
Yeah. So I posted this on our Facebook page, so you guys probably, by the time you're hearing this, you probably have already read the article that Tim was referring to. But it's George Romero's son is basically he's been working on a prequel for some time now. I guess he was trying to get the funding, which he managed to get finally. He's doing a prequel to Night of the Living Dead. I think it was originally called Origin, and now it's called Rise of the Living Dead. And he's working on it while his dad was alive. So, and his dad apparently gave it the big thumbs up. And I mean, you want to say maybe there's some bias there. I don't know, but either way, he's apparently raved about it and said it was incredible. So, I mean, this is some exciting news. So this will be fun when this comes out. I just hope it gets like a real release. You know, I hope it's not one of these like ones you got to go dig for. Or it's like in this a limited run. I hope this gets like a big screen.
Right, yeah. Not just a straight to video type thing.
Right. And it seems he works really hard on this thing. It deserves to see the light of day, no pun intended there. Because Rise of the Living Dead.
And I picked up some cool horror comics this weekend. We had one of our local comic book stores that's really awesome. They do I think it's twice a year, they do a brown bag sale, and they put out like 100 boxes of dollar comics. And they give you a paper bag, and you can fit as many in there as you possibly can for $20. And typically, you can get about 60 comics in there.
That's crazy! Wow,
which is really cool. So you get to. I actually went there Saturday and Sunday and filled up 2 bags. Not all horror, but I'll tell you about that in a second. The horror ones I did get, I just got a bunch of random stuff. One of the best purchases I think was an Image comic called Nailbiter, which is about serial killers, which is really cool. I picked up several issues of that. And then a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. I had one that was Tales from the Dark Side, one of the recent ones that Joe Hill was involved in.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
One of the best ones I got on Sunday was the first issue of something called Kong Gorilla.
Gorilla.
It's called Kong Gorilla. It's like some King Kong knockoff. It just looked completely awesome.
It's like King Kong meets Barbarella? Is that
yeah, I guess so. It was really cool. Reminded me of Ape. The cover of
God,
Ape
3D. Yeah, we got to do that. Maybe that. You know what? I watched that. So I know we said one of our commentary is going to be the next one was going to be the one we still both didn't see. But in all honesty, I watched that and it was like it was so long ago, and it's almost like I'd be watching it fresh again anyway. So we might have to put that on the docket for that would make a great I think commentary.
Well, can we do a double feature with that Tony Danza movie you were talking about?
Oh, Going Ape. Yeah, we should, right? Yeah, we should get that Going Ape and Ape 3D. Or we could just see if they'll transfer Going Ape into 3D.
Yeah.
Which I doubt they'd spend the time. I mean, it's barely spent time to release it on DVD. I mean, let alone, and now I'm asking for, high-tech transfer into 3D. But, yeah.
Yeah, the stuff I got that was non-horror was I got maybe 50 Conan comics. I'm a huge Conan fan. This is a little bit of trivia for you.
Oh, I think I have some. If I might have one or two. If I do, I'll send them your way.
Yeah, because my other love besides Batman, I'm not really into superhero stuff. Other than Batman, I'm not really into anything else. But I love Conan, and it comes back to a time when I was younger, in my teens, and I lived out in a suburb kind of Wilmington, and it's kind of rural at the time. It's grown up a lot now, but there was literally nothing to do, and it was to the point where the high school kids would go hang out in the parking lot of the grocery store because that was literally all there was to do. And so I would go up there, and there was a drugstore up there. I would walk in there and look at the magazines every now and again, and they had those big oversized Conan comics.
I remember those. They're they're like a magazine size.
Yeah, they were like black and white.
Yeah.
So I used to buy those just for something to read, something to do, because it was so boring up there. And I got hooked on those, and ever since then, I've just loved Conan for some reason. So the dollar sale had tons of the old Marvel series.
Oh, wow.
I mean, not in great shape, but who cares?
Yeah, for a dollar and whatever.
So I picked up like 50 of those.
Or actually, like a fraction of a dollar. Actually, if you add it all up, but
so that was just a little side excursion from the horror. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So did you get a kick out of the little spoof they did in that UHF movie with Vera Yankovic with Conan the Librarian? Did you get yeah. But don't you know the Dewey Decimal System? I could never get through that sequence without laughing. I don't know. That's a movie I'm surprised has not been remade. Right? There hasn't been. I mean, or unless it was like a straight to video one I didn't know about. Right? They haven't made one since.
Well, they did make the remake a few years back where it had the dude from Game of Thrones and Aquaman.
Oh, right. That's right. Yes. You're right. And knowing me, I probably own it, and I just don't remember.
I mean, that one was okay, but I would love to see. What I would love to see would be Arnold Schwarzenegger come back and do like King Conan, where he's older.
Oh,
he becomes a king, and maybe he's older and he has to. I don't know. You could have him maybe flashback and have him played by somebody else or something. I don't know.
Well, he's not far from it. I mean, I think he's coming back to every other role he's done.
Yeah.
So what's stopping him now? But I think I have some really good versions of that. I think they re-released them at one point, a couple of the originals, and I remember I used to love those movies when I was a kid.
Yeah, I used to love Conan the Destroyer because I love the princess in there.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
that was my favorite one out of all the Conan movies for whatever reason was the crappy sequel.
Yeah, well, I think I kind of remember liking that better too. I mean, the first one was pretty rough. I mean, I don't think it was as. I think it was definitely the more. I want to say the more violent one. You know what? I haven't seen either one of them in so long. Probably should just watch those at some point. Well, you know what? Like I said, I may not have cable, but I will have 18 boxes or more of Blu-rays to go through. So maybe I'll just grab those out and watch them.
Well, nice segue, because speaking of Blu-rays, we have a little dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God, no, don't call up.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, that was a good segue on my part.
Yeah.
Usually you're like the king of segues.
Yeah.
Other than Paul Blart, but
This is a short week, but it has some high quality stuff in here. So let's get right
doozies.
to it. Well, it doesn't start off with the high quality because guess what they're dumping on us?
Yeah.
Amityville: The Awakening.
There we go.
Is that like the quickest theater to Blu-ray release ever?
It might be. It really might be. And of course,
I had to double check this because I couldn't believe.
I think I have to get it now, like living in Amityville, right? Ray, maybe they'll send it to me for free. I don't know. Maybe all residents of the town will get it.
I think you need to have framed posters of every movie in the series around your house.
Well, now, do I have to have like all those knockoff ones that weren't part of the?
You can put those in the bathroom.
Okay, right. There you go. Yeah,
like the Amityville Terror. You could put that over the floor.
I did find it was funny though. It's like when Julie was she went downstairs to was going through some boxes right when we started the movie. And she pulled out the first box and it had she opened it up and the first thing she saw was Amityville 2: The Possession on videotape. Was the first thing she found on that. So I actually saved that. I did not put that in almost all my VHS tapes. Went off to the... I probably should have put this in the first... our first chop, actually, with all the stuff I've been finding. Remember I was sending you? I found, some old school video. And it's some of the horror ones I'm keeping, I think, just because of the nostalgia of that we spoke about.
I like that snow globe thing you were showing me.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, I forgot I even had that. That came in a Halloween. They had a limited... I think they made 100,000 of them. It was one of those... It was a 2 videotape set that came out at one point, and it came with that and the snow globe. So even the snow globe is numbered at the bottom. So yeah, obviously that's not going anywhere. That's staying. But there was but some of the VHSs I was finding were is something about a VHS tape that will always kind of have that, I think I described it kind of once with albums, there was that warm feeling like you get when you hear an album. Same thing with a VHS tape. Something about holding it in your hand. It was so cool because remember for so long you couldn't own them. They were just rentals. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that's what it is. So there was that mystique. So once things started coming out, were able to purchase on video and they weren't $90. Remember that when they first came out? It was you could buy them, but they were $100 or something. I mean, it was crazy. So I don't know. Maybe that's kind of the thing. Then that bit of nostalgia. So it's a couple of the videotapes I just couldn't let go. I put them in. They're probably gonna be in storage, but they will not leave. just some of the clay. I had all the. I had the old Friday the 13th ones where the box art was that original box art on each of them. You don't see that nowadays. It's something. I mean, it's cool to have them on the DVD or a Blu-ray, but it's not the same. Because now they try and make these fancy artwork.
Well, it's like the that one I picked up at the Goodwill the other day, the Evil Dead 2 VHS for 25 cents.
Oh right,
I just have it setting up as a display on my my horror shelf, just as a cool collectible, if you will.
Yeah, I found curtains. Remember the movie Curtains? I was telling you about. I found the VHS to that, and just I must have about 12 versions of Halloween on videotape. 90% of them are going. Only the collectible ones I kept. And then I had one, the cheapest version of Halloween 2 I ever saw in my life. It was I don't know. It was one of those Video Zone or something, one of those kind of one of those rehashes they used to do where you can get them for $3. It was like that. But anyway, sorry I kind of got off topic. But I mean, we are in the dismemberment section, so it's not like we're super tangenty. But yeah,
this is a short one anyway. So I guess I'll go ahead and read the IMDb summary just for completion's sake.
Yeah, why not?
A desperate single mother moves with her 3 children into the notorious, supposedly haunted, real-life Amityville house to try and use its dark powers to cure her comatose son.
That's always a good idea.
I love this last sentence. Things go horribly wrong.
You don't say.
That's an understatement.
You don't say. See, I wonder if they made the title like that because of the Force Awakens, Amityville, The Awakening.
Yeah. It actually does kind of make sense in the movie. The title does.
Well, based on, I mean, you can probably tell from there. It seems like obviously this power that this house had lied dormant until this family decided to awaken it. So yeah. I mean,
how'd you guess that, Brian?
I don't know.
You must be clairvoyant.
I might be. Don't call me Clara. Okay, so it's terrible.
All right, next up we have George A. Romero, Between Night and Dawn. This is a little box set put out by Arrow, and it includes some early Romero movies. It includes There's Always Vanilla, Season of the Witch, and The Crazies.
Not to be confused, obviously, with Halloween, Season of the Witch.
Yeah, this is just Season of the Witch. And it's got a collectible booklet. It's got some new restorations of those films, some commentaries. This one was going to be my pick of the week. I'm kind of wavering now because you can get The Crazies pretty readily, I think, the original. But yeah, and There's Always Vanilla. I don't think is like horror per se.
I never heard of that one, actually.
Yeah, this is a cool set that I think would definitely be worth having. So yeah, pretty cool. But I'm gonna back off of it being my pick of the week right now. I got a different one for a different reason.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the title of the box set makes sense. Night and Dawn, obviously, the movies he's done between the two. So he gets points for that. Great title of the box set.
Great title. Next up, we have a new steelbook by Arrow of Hellraiser, 1987. Has a commentary, featurettes. An unfaithful wife encounters the zombie of her dead lover. The demonic Cenobites are pursuing him after he escaped their sadomasochistic underworld.
Well, yeah. See, I mean, that one, this could be featured in our summer slaycation for 2018. I think.
Every time I hear the word Cenobites, I think of like a bite-sized cinnamon roll.
Yeah, right. Cenobites.
That doesn't sound scary to me. It sounds delicious.
See, that should have been what a tie-in they missed, right? They missed that big time.
Yeah, you could do it. What's that cinnamon roll place that they always have? Cinnabon.
Yeah, Cinnabon. There you go.
Cinnabon tie-in with Hellraiser. Another Kickstarter.
Yep, I tell you, we were way too powerful for our own good with these Kickstarters. We just have too many now. We need a Kickstarter to organize the Kickstarters.
Yeah, Hellraiser is a crazy, crazy movie. It took me a while to wrap my head around that one. It took me many viewings to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, it's different. Like, it's funny to see, actually. This is, I think the first time I ever read a description on it, though. It's kind of funny. I just watched it over the years.
Well, even the description is WTF. You're like,
yeah.
what?
You're like, what? Yeah, that's I don't know if I would have described it, but yeah.
When we do Pinhead for Summer Slaycation, that's going to be an arduous journey because Hellraiser 1, 2, 3 are okay. Then you start getting into some really terrible ones. This was back last summer, I believe. I embarked on a journey to watch all the Hellraiser films, and I think I made it up to maybe the 6th one before I gave up.
How many are there?
There's like 1 billion.
Oh my god.
I don't remember. There's one where he's in space, and then there's some that even are after that. So.
I love that. He fell for that horror trope of them going into space when there's no... Why is this why space? I don't get it. Why do people go to space in horror movies?
I don't know. That's always the point where the franchise jumps the shark.
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
Next up is... oh, God. J.D.'s Revenge, 1976.
Is it J.D. Salinger? Or...
Yeah. This is a new restoration with an interview. I almost did not even look at this one to put it on the list until I read something about Blackula. And apparently this movie was born out of that brief period where there was these horror blaxploitation films. And so I'll just read the description. A docile black law student is possessed by a 1940s mobster in mid-70s New Orleans. The mobster seeks revenge upon the people who killed him and his sister.
Why is this horror, though? This doesn't sound like really horror, though.
Well, because he's possessed.
Oh, possessed, yeah, okay. I thought they meant, possessed in that sense, oh, man, he's possessed to get back at his... I see, I totally read that wrong. I read, based on the rest of it, I read that as he was just, kind of determined possessed.
This one sounds interesting. I don't watch a lot of blaxploitation films. I've seen Shaft and I've seen maybe one or two of the other ones, but if you have not seen Black Dynamite, go watch that. That was the parody of blaxploitation films that came out a few years ago, and it's freaking hysterical.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, it is hilarious. Like you see they even have they're so authentic. They even put like the boom mic down in some of the shots.
Oh yeah,
you can see it and stuff. It's hilarious. I want to watch that one again. It's really really funny.
Oh, I gotta look at that.
Yeah. Next up is Brian's pick of the week.
Yes, and now I know we had mentioned this on a previous show because at one point it was a Best Buy exclusive, but now it's getting the full release, so you can get it on Amazon. I think it's pretty good priced. I think it's like $28.99 or something like that, and you're basically getting 4 Psycho movies. I mean, it's good enough you get the first one. I mean, which is worth $20-something bucks, and then you're getting the other 3 too. That's
and
good.
They're all pretty decent. They're not. Yeah. These aren't terrible.
I remember when Psycho 2 came out, I was like, wow, because I remember it was like it debuted on HBO or something when I saw it, for the first time, and I was like, wow, I can't believe they made a sequel to this, and it was so long after, right? It was like,
oh yeah,
it was like
Anthony Perkins
30-something years after,
was much older when he made it.
Yeah, and I remember, I want to say Psycho the beginning, the 4th one. That one was right. That was an Showtime, one of the cable channels' original films, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With Olivia Hussey was in that. That one was really good. I mean, Henry Thomas was in that too. That was actually a surprisingly good one because it's kind of like a Bates Motel-ish version of it, right? I guess.
Yeah, this
younger.
Actually, this would be a good candidate for a summer staycation as well.
Oh, right.
Norman Bates and do the whole 4 Psycho run. That would be fun. Because I haven't seen the sequels in a long time. The original I watch all the time. I watch that one probably 2 or 3 times a year. But the other ones, I don't think I've seen them in forever.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw any of the sequels. Yeah, that I think. Yeah, I mean, I know we pretty much have. I mean, if you think about it, we pretty much named probably 3 of the 4 that we're gonna for summer staycation already.
Yeah.
So I would think that was. Oh, and speaking, did you see that there was Bloody Disgusting? There may be more Chucky films coming. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Summer Slaycation for him may just go on forever.
There will be more Chucky films,
yeah.
Especially if they could just release them straight to Netflix.
Oh right!
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No, you'll have forever, yeah.
The next one up is my pick of the week, and it's based off of one title in here.
I think I know which one it is, but
no, this is the Paul Naschy Collection 2.
Right,
this is a follow-up to the previously released Paul Naschy Collection, and it's by Scream Factory. And I really had wished to pick up the first collection, but I just couldn't justify the money at the time. But I would like to pick up both of these at some point.
Well, maybe they'll be like the complete collection.
Yeah,
you get them all in one shot.
So for those who don't know, Paul Naschy has been described as the king of Spanish horror cinema. So he was the guy that was playing the werewolves and vampires and those kind of things in the Spanish film industry.
Oh, I thought he was like a director.
No, he was actually an actor.
Oh, okay. That's why. Okay, because when I said the collection, I thought he was. I thought like I saw one of it where his like face was on it, so I assumed he was the director.
No, and he's been in tons and tons of these. Like if you go look at his IMDb page, he's got he's got 121 acting credits alone.
Wow.
And a lot of those are horror films: Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf. And so this collection brings the following: Hunchback of the Morgue.
That sounds like one of our originals.
Devil's Possessed, Exorcism, A Dragonfly for Each Corpse, which sounds like so Italian.
Yep, and here comes Tim's. I knew it right away.
Guessed The Werewolf and the Yeti.
That's like Tim's 2 favorite, like cryptozoological.
Oh my god, I want to see that
creatures.
So bad.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when I was looking at it, when I looked at this grouping, I looked quickly, and the way it just happened to type on the thing, I literally thought one of the movies was called The Yeti Exorcism, and I'm like, wow. What on earth could that be about?
Oh, that's another Kickstarter right there.
Yeah, I totally missed your comment and the way it just broke it up on the rundown. I was like, holy cow. What a crazy movie. I'm like, that's why Tim picked this. But then it's, then seeing The Werewolf and the Yeti, that's still just as Tim, but yeah.
But seriously though, this sounds like a cool collection.
Yeah. I don't remember his first one have cool titles like this one.
Yeah, so I don't know. This will be a Christmas wish list item at some point.
No, yeah, maybe we should do like an episode on him, like Civil War gets Naschy or something. You know?
Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds like a plan, right?
Yeah. Or maybe. Oh no! Wait a minute. I mean that too, but maybe we'll pick one of these for one of our commentaries, like the Werewolf and the Yeti is like our commentary.
Oh,
although it's probably it may not be as funny because I think we'll probably the movie will be probably really good. Like, you know, I mean, and not that Blood Rage was bad. It was just, you know, it had enough of that little, like, you know, funny banter worthy material in it. Those are the ones that work best. I still think we got to do Merville the Clown, like one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's so many of those I want to do.
If anything, just so we could keep singing it to everybody.
Well, actually, this next one may be a contender.
Yeah, I was looking at this. This is the one that cracked me up. I'm not even gonna be able to get through you saying it.
This is a trauma film, so you know what you're getting in for. Headed. So you know what you're getting into. It's called. Now, let me tell you the original title for this film.
Oh my god, they went to this from something else?
The original title was The Miracle of Life. That was the original title. And they said, nah, this is a better title.
Yeah.
And it's called The Thingy, Confessions of a Teenage Placenta.
Wow. So, I mean, is this kind of like going to be one of those, like, coming-of-age placenta tales where, you know, like the...
Oh, let me read the description.
Yeah, this has got to be a good one.
The heartbreaking story of a living placenta that is raised as a human, a Christian, a soldier.
Not even an end. Like, it looked like there was going to be more. What happened? But wait a minute. I don't understand. Wouldn't this eventually become a person anyway?
No Jewish placentas for you, Brian.
Oh, wait, literally. I'm sorry. It's just a placenta. I see. Never mind. I misread that too. Okay. It literally is just a placenta.
It's just a placenta living
autonomously.
Okay.
Got it. I thought it was like someone with the placenta, but no, it's literally just a placenta. Okay, wow. All right, that's even...
I don't know that I want to see that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. First of all, why are they... Well, I want to know is why are they joining the story when he's a teenager? Or it's a teenager at this point? Like, is that going to be... Are they leaving way for like a prequel? Like, I was a toddler running around placenta. like there's so much I want to know now.
I don't know. Leave it to Trauma to put something out like that.
Right? Yeah. I think I want to like see him like go to school for the first time. I keep saying him. How do we know it's a him? This placenta.
I don't know.
It's a thingy.
I would think he's not a him since he's a placenta.
That's true. Yeah, it's a thingy. So we should probably just see. This might be a contender.
I'm speechless. And theatrical releases for November 10th, nothing of note are on the slate.
Well, that's okay. You know what? We had a good October and September.
Yeah, and Star Wars is coming, so.
Yeah, so I got to get prepped for that. And I got to see Thor still, but, you know. Yeah, probably after the move.
Yeah, I got to see Thor. And Jigsaw, jeez.
Oh, right. I mean, and even though it's not hard, we probably definitely should cover Last Jedi just a bit when we're all, just because we're big fans.
Yeah, we will. For sure.
Yeah, we'll touch on it, yeah. Not going to be an episode on it, but, you know.
So, for the feature of the week is, of course, Gremlins from 1984, directed by Joe Dante, writer Chris Columbus, who also brought us Goonies, one of my favorite movies of all time.
This is like literally like a who's who of big players at the time, really, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah. Starring Zach Galligan, the beautiful Phoebe Cates.
Don't forget Dick Miller. The classic Dick Miller of all those Joe Dante films. Yeah, Mr. Futterman, he played.
Oh, yeah. Polly Holiday, who's great in this film,
God,
as the
Deagle.
evil Ruby Deagle.
I have plenty to say about her. Okay, we'll get to her.
Yeah, Dick Miller obviously was awesome in this one.
And Corey Feldman.
Yeah, you had Corey Feldman. You had Judge Reinhold has a little bit cameo in this. So.
Oh, and don't how do we forget, like, Hoyt Axton?
Oh, yeah.
As Rand Pelcher.
And then, the terrific score by Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, it really had everything with this movie. It was like that. It was such a labor of love of people that went on into this thing. It's like there was no way this could have been bad. In my opinion, it was destined to be a hit.
Well, let me tell you how awesome 1984 was. If you don't believe it, Gremlins and Ghostbusters came out on the exact same day.
Holy cow! Wow. That's rare that literally those are two of my favorite films ever. Not just so I mean,
can you imagine? Like I often think about like kids today growing up. Like, what's the movies they're gonna? Are they gonna be able to look back and say, "Oh man, 2004 was awesome"?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are times like that. Now you do get that when you get the Star Wars and the Marvel ones all in one year, but you will never get two movies of that caliber on the same day. The studios just don't do that.
Yeah, and you have to think about it. Back then, they would move movies up in the release schedule to compete against another movie.
Right, now it's the opposite.
Yes, now it's the opposite. They're trying to get away from the big blockbusters. So Gremlins was originally supposed to come out around the holiday season, hence it's set at Christmas time, and they realized that they had nothing to put up against Ghostbusters, which was coming out, so they moved it up in the slate and put it out on the same weekend as Ghostbusters to compete.
Right, and if you think about it too, one of probably the keys to the reasons of that is, right, nowadays, back then, okay, the home video and home releases, and there was no streaming, and there was no really true pay-per-view to what it was. There was nothing like that. At the time, it's like you got the movie in the theater, eventually it would come out for a rental, and then if you wanted to see it at home, really, without shelling out an arm and a leg, you would have to wait until it came on HBO or something, and it was exciting when it would have that thing. Nowadays, you get, it comes so close to, some soon after it's out in the theater, you get it comes out to your home release, and there's also there was so much more pirating now than there was then. So really, studios, they have to just be so strategic with the way they do that, and then you want to throw in the 3D element and that. Why do you think every theater went and remodeled itself to have those comfortable seats and all these fancy amenities? Because they were losing people coming to the theater. So so that it's different. It was so funny how different it was then.
Yeah, now to show you the success of this movie, the budget was $11 million. It grossed $148 million.
Wow.
In the U.S. That's crazy.
Yeah, and inflation, you probably figure, what would that be now to make at the time? Maybe like triple that, right? You figure?
Yeah.
And it probably would have been all CG, and it would have looked...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it probably would have, maybe, popped a little bit better, but something about the whole, the little stop-motion-y gremlins and stuff like that were cool, and then the puppets and everything. It was neat that way.
Yeah, I was reading the trivia on IMDb, and they were talking about how the animatronics they used for some of the close-up shots ran $30,000 to $40,000 a piece.
Wow.
So they had to basically guard them with their lives because they were so expensive at the time. That was a big chunk of their budget, was trying to pull this off without using a lot of stop motion. Now there is one scene, I think, where it shows a horde of the gremlins running down the street. It does in stop motion and it doesn't hold up very well.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie holds up really well because they used actual puppets.
Right.
And it looks really, really good. To this day, it still looks really good.
Yeah. And I still have my little stuffed Gizmo that you squeaked and it went, like my little Gizmo doll that looked about like me. Because remember, it wasn't that hard to recreate something like that for kids to have in their hands. So it literally looked exactly like Gizmo did in the movie, so it was kind of cool, to have that when you were your kid, because who didn't want a Mogwai after seeing that movie? Oh my gosh.
I just remember how big this movie was. I remember I was going into another movie, it may have been Ghostbusters for all I know, and I saw the cardboard cutout promo thing of Gremlins, and I told my mom, I was like, I want to see that, and she said, no, that's too scary. I still remember that to this day. I was 10 years old.
Tim was denied.
No, but she ended up taking me to it because obviously I saw it when I was 10. But I just remembered there was, and I believe it was one of the fast food places were giving out the 45 records of the old. You remember the old kids records where you turn the page when it does the chime or whatever?
Yeah. Turn the page.
Yeah, they had a set of 5 of those. I actually looked them up on eBay before this podcast. You can actually get the whole set fairly inexpensively, and I think they were 5 of the Storybook 45s that I used to listen to all the time, and they kind of scared me, but I still listened to them. But those were super, super cool. This movie was huge. I even remember, even as a kid, thinking how big this was.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones that anytime it was on, because, I mean, cable played this over and over and over. Anytime it was on, no matter where it was in the film, I would stop to watch it. And I remember when we had it, I remember once I guess I finally did get it. I think we taped it off of cable or something. And I remember I used to watch this thing over and over in the videotape till pretty much raw at that point.
Yeah, now if you were living on a rock and don't know anything about Gremlins, we'll just do a brief recap.
Yeah.
So there's an inventor.
Rand Peltzer.
Rand
Peltzer's my name, inventing's my game. I'm an inventor. Yes, I love him. Every line he says, I could listen. He's got that voice that just, like, is perfect for that.
Yeah, you know what's so great about him is he's one of those quirky characters that you only got in those 80s movies back then. But they always had some little gimmick. It wasn't integral to the plot, really, but it just gave them this lovable character thing that just endeared you to him. And that's kind of what he is. So he's looking for a gift for his son, and he's wandering around Chinatown. He gets dragged into this little underground shop. So, yeah, his little boy tells him, my grandfather's got this shop, and we've got all kinds of cool stuff in there. And inside, he finds this creature called a mogwai, which the boy ends up selling him, unbeknownst to his grandfather, because his grandfather does not want to part with it. Because with mogwai comes great responsibility. There's 3 rules that you have to obey when taking care of a mogwai. The first is they don't like bright light, so you have to keep them out of sunlight.
Bright light. That was the best when Gizmo used to say that.
Never get them wet.
Nope.
And never feed them after midnight.
Which is the most important one, as you find out.
Most important one. Yeah, so he brings us home to his son, Billy. And Billy's kind of interesting, because Billy's an older son.
Yeah.
I could see this movie played with like a 14 or 15-year-old. Maybe. Yeah, Billy looked older to me. Maybe he was only, I don't know how old.
Well, he worked at the bank. I mean, he seemed to work for a while now. But he did hang out with, I guess he was in high school. Was he in high school? Or he must have just been out of high school, because he was, remember, he went back to visit his science teacher, and it didn't seem like he was still going to that school. It was more like Corey Feldman was going to the school.
Well, he was 20 when he made the movie, so to me, I always thought of him as like late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he brings the mogwai home, and I was fascinated when I was rewatching this, because they play it so straight. They don't exclaim that, oh my god, what the hell is this? What kind of creature is this? Even the dad doesn't really make that big a deal of it. He's like, oh, what is this? Oh, he's cute.
I gotta have him, yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of accept it like if you walk to a pet store and goes, what's that? Oh, it's a chinchilla. Oh, that's kind of cool. And they just take it home. It's not like they were like, oh my god, this is an alien creature. Or it's not an alien in the movie, but you get what I'm saying. It's not of this natural realm.
Right. And I mean, the funny thing is, they stick to that through the whole film. Even when they're all going, the whole thing is going haywire. It's like, people are reacting to them as if they're just, they're a nuisance, but not, other than maybe the cops, they're not getting terrified in the way you would think they would.
No.
Like Phoebe Cates is serving them beer later on. I mean, it's like,
well, and Billy's like so nonchalant about the whole thing. The thing's singing to him like in English, and it's like mimicking him. Like it's almost like they're like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Even Corey Feldman. You remember there's this great scene where Billy's showing him to Corey Feldman's character for the first time, and after a little while, Corey Feldman just gets bored with it.
Yeah,
he's back to reading comic books.
Yeah, it's like, and I do have a question though. It's like, all right, based on throughout the movie, the running gag is that everything like Rand Peltzer invents works for like a couple of days, I guess, and then it causes more havoc than it is, and nothing he has work. How was he able to just drop hundreds on this thing? He's like, oh no, I gotta have my son $100. Oh wait, you won't sell this? Here's 200. 200. What has this guy ever sold?
I don't know. I like the idea that he's just a hustler, though, because he's he's kind of like a snake oil salesman.
I guess.
So maybe he's made enough.
Well, he did sell one one smokeless ashtray. We know
That's
for
true,
sure.
yeah.
He did smell it to that guy at the gas station, so that was good. And I mean, but tell me though, when you were a kid, didn't you want the bathroom buddy? Like I would have loved having that thing.
Absolutely, it looks so clunky today, but it looked awesome.
Actually, what I wanted was that thing that cracks the egg. That
yeah.
Thing
No, I wanted that fly swatter. It was like a gun, and it had like 5 fly swatters on the end that just twirled out.
And it goes, yeah, he plays with it at one point, yeah. It's like, it's just cool. And then, like, and I love how, like, he's sitting, you know, like, when he's at the, like, that, the little convention, I guess, on the phone, and, like, the robot's walking up to him, and it's, like, so, like, archaic things, but he's like, I'm really out of my league here. I'm like, I could have told you that. You got a robot here, and you're selling a bathroom product, you know, it's like, but, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what makes this movie so great, is you believe in these things because every character on screen believes in them.
Right.
And doesn't even make a big deal out of it. They just accept it. It's part of their world, and they move on.
Right. And it's funny because it's like, and a lot of the characters interpret it different ways. Like, you got, and I listen, I mean, if you have not seen Gremlins by now, shame on all of you. So there's going to be some spoilers here, but like a perfect example, like Mr. Funneman is convinced it's those old gremlins, like from the legends of like the fighter pilots, you know, when their engine, you know, basically it was an excuse for when mechanical failures happened. They would say, oh, it's a gremlin in the engine, you know, stuff like that. And obviously the Twilight Zone had been out by that point with the famous gremlin on the wing of the plane. And then Miss Deagle thinks they've come just for her. You know, she's screaming, oh, they've come for me. And I love, my favorite thing is that literally these things have been alive for what, maybe like a few hours, and they're already going Deagle, 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 like they know her name.
I know.
That's
everything, like they're mimicking people. They've only been alive like a few hours, and already they're mimicking Christmas carolers and watching movies and stuff. It's pretty funny,
right? And you know, it's funny too because, you know, you obviously know that like once he gives them those 3 warnings, you pretty much know, okay, well obviously he's gonna, you know, something's bad could happen here, you know. And obviously the water one is just, it reproduces them. But it's funny how it doesn't reproduce them equally. Obviously, as you know, they're a little more mischievous than our hero. You could say hero, Gizmo. He's pretty much the, you know, and it's just like, you know, and plus you needed to you know, you wanted... Oops, sorry, as I dropped my cap there. Sorry for the noise, people. Yeah, so, you know, you wanted someone to root for it, you know, and so it's pretty, you know, it's just, it's like one of those movies that it's like, it's the perfect horror movie to pretty much, and we'll get to that, why it's definitely should be considered horror, but it's a great horror movie for families, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you could literally you know, have your kids see this, because it's done, while it's horrific at some scenes, it's still done in this tongue-in-cheek, humorous way that it's. I mean, there's so much slapstick in it that it kind of makes it a little less scary.
Yeah, and it was intentionally. I think Joe Dante intentionally wanted it to be a little more family-oriented, but they still kept a lot of the horror scenes. And speaking of, you know, why is this a horror movie?
Obviously, the scene with the mom alone is pure
oh my God, yeah.
horror. That if you think about it,
Gremlin in the microwave. She stabs one at one point. He's trying to pull the knife out of his body,
and then she chops him up. And the mom holds her own. She's like, she get like 2 or 3 of them, I think, right? I think she killed 3. She got one in that blender thing. I think one.
God, I forgot about that.
The one she stabbed, and then the other one she put in the microwave one, which is the one and we all remember. And then I guess Billy at one point chops one of the heads off, right? And it goes flying. Tell me that would not be the coolest prop, like, you know, another starter log shaped like that gremlin head, and you know that's like sitting there on fire. How great would that be, right?
I'll tell you, rewatching this movie actually made me want to dress up as Billy for Halloween next year.
Oh, and I should too. I could do it because I have the little Gizmo.
Yeah, like I could get a Gizmo, and then all you need is the backpack and like kind of the red coat,
puffy coat,
a puffy red coat, and the backpack, and put Gizmo in the back of it. Yeah cool.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we should both you and O and me and Julie will dress up as both that Billy and what's her name in the Phoebe Cates' name in the movie. Just watch Kate, that's right. And we should both all show up to Halloween Horror Nights, both like just dual costumes.
Oh, that would be cool to do like an 80s scene. Like one of us could be like the Gremlins couple, and then another one could be some other couple.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, but you're right. Actually, I may do that for my work costume next year. Good call. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, because and you know, and it's just like, that the whole like the Mr. Futterman sequences, the whole Futterman's period. Anytime they're on the screen, to me is hilarious because like it's so funny. Like he's trying to like spout all this like his craziness on Billy, and Billy was like, just yeah, okay, Mr. Futterman, sure. And then like his obviously Mr. Futterman's like greatest fears come to be as they come. That whole sequence with the whole, it's like the perfect old like married couple scene where she's it's like what are you doing with the you have the thingy, like and not the placenta thingy, like he meant the remote. And he had that whole like remote, that old clicker remote that everyone had back then, and I just loved that. And but one of the funniest sequences ever was that whole scene when it's chasing and the music's playing and it just freezes on the wife with the chip in her mouth. I mean, that's just like, it's just this hilarious stuff going on while he's getting chased, and it's like, and they actually used to use that shot when he goes I can't get anything, and he walks out. I remember they used to have that clip for advertisement for cable around here.
Oh,
he
really?
said, I can't get anything on this thing, and he clicks and he goes, if you are tired of bad reception, switch to Cablevision or whatever it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I still remember that, but
yeah. But yeah, like if you can classify anything as a horror comedy these days, and I've seen stuff that has far less horror elements that's still classified as a horror comedy, then this definitely classifies as a horror comedy, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, this will always go down. I mean, and watching it again, like other than a couple of sequences of effects, this movie still holds up to me. I mean, it's just as enjoyable as the first time I saw it. Every time I watch it, it never gets old to me. I never get bored with it. It's just so much fun to watch, and it's kind of like one of those like timeless things. I mean, obviously, yes, you see like. You get some jaded teenagers going to say, "Oh, that's never going to happen. If I did that, I'd just call my cell phone." All that whole business. But just try like from our age group coming on. I mean, I don't know one person that doesn't hold that film like close to their heart and such nostalgia.
Well, for a lot of kids, that's probably the first really scary movie they saw.
True.
Of our age. That's I know true, for me, yeah. it probably was because I had not seen. At 10 years old, I don't think I'd seen any like actual horror movies.
I mean, I've seen a couple, but before then, like I think I said, but not to that, it wasn't like that one was different because you kind of got it was one that I was like truly being like taken to see like I think my mom, because she couldn't get a babysitter once, took me to that Frank Langella Dracula, knowing I'd probably fall asleep 10 minutes into it because it was like an 8 o'clock, which I probably did. So I kind of remember just seeing parts of it and then not remembering the rest until I saw it years later. So, but I mean, back then though, there wasn't, it was great because it was like a horror movie for kids at some level. I mean,
yeah, it really was. It's a great introductory. Yeah, just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in many years, I definitely revisit it. I really enjoyed rewatching it because it's been several years since I've seen it last. And I probably only caught like little bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, and I remember the second one was, I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, it was it was kind of a disappointment from the first one, because I think they definitely went way high on the comedy on the second one.
Yeah, well, they've always described the second one as a Warner Brothers cartoon, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah,
they definitely went full comedy on the Gremlins. Which it's fine. It's still, I think even today, it's still held up as a pretty good sequel. I think it got a lot more love over the years. Sort of Ghostbusters 2 did.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed it. It just doesn't have the same magic as the first one did. And the Futtermans returned somehow, which was great. I was like, okay, they're back. Well. And they do go and explain why. And it's kind of nice, though. It is the progression, now Billy and Kate are together living in the city or whatever. And, they have that, obviously. Now it would probably be looked at kind of funny because, that guy was obviously a Trump clone at the time. When he went as Clamp. So, I mean, it's like, come on.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah.
We should mention some of the little trivia elements.
Oh, right.
The town was the same set as Hill Valley for Back to the Future.
Yep, that classic little with the town square element, and
which was sadly destroyed in a fire.
Yeah, but it's like that's that town everyone wanted to live in, when they were growing up, and it was kind of cool. But
and then of course Gizmo's voice done by Howie Mandel.
Yes, that was.
Which I could not unhear after I learned that. I could never unhear that.
Oh yeah, no, you always know it's him. It's like. But and that's the thing. It's like I think didn't they make actually a Gremlins cartoon at one point? I want to say, or was it a comic?
Oh gosh.
Was it a cartoon or a comic?
They used to make cartoons of everything. Like, remember they had a Punky Brewster cartoon?
Oh yeah. Oh, Punky. Yeah, was it George Gaines? Didn't he say that in every episode? Like, oh, Punky. But
yeah, oh, Punky.
Yeah.
And then they had Glomer.
Oh right.
Remember Glomer? Like, hey, Punky friend.
Yeah, there was. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast altogether.
Oh
I wonder if someone's done like a 80s cartoon podcast. If not,
I'm sure there is. There is. Yeah. So we had a pretty cool beer pairing this week. I was getting scared about the beer pairing because I had no clue what to use.
I was having trouble. I actually found some ones that like pretty much nailed it, but they were like those obscure ones. Like one was like from I think the Ukraine, and it was like no one's gonna get it, and there was another one it was one literally called I think it was Gremlin Ale or something like that, and there was a couple other ones, but this one. So I said, you know what though, we need to find something. It's a Christmassy thing, type of movie. We're trying to do the holiday theme. So I decided, let me go for winter beers and like those holiday beers. And I thought I found a great one based on.
This was great.
Yeah, so it's called Wreck the Halls, and it's by Full Sail Brewing Company. They're out of Oregon. They've got some pretty good stuff. I've had some things in there, and this one it's a hybrid of an American style IPA mixed with a winter warmer. So it's a lot of like I saw it was like two types of hops. I think one was Cascade hops, and I forgot the other one. But it's mixed with a dark malt to it too. So it's like literally a hybrid beer. So it's two of my favorite style beers, kind of mixed together. So I definitely got to look for this one. Thing is that they said it's usually in a 6-pack by this place, so it may be a little difficult to find. It's usually available from October to December only. So now is the time to find it. I guess, if you have a beverage place, I'm sure you can probably, they may get like the little pack of it. So
cool.
I'm having right now the good one though, that Jacko Traveler Pumpkin Shandy, which is really good.
I really want to try that one.
Yeah, it's by the Traveler Beer Company, so it's pretty good. But so that's our beer pairing for the week.
Last week's trivia was, what was the first 3D film to ever be shown? And the answer is The Power of Love. Not the Huey.
No, that's not the one. Okay,
yeah, not that one. This was actually 1922, believe it or not. Premiered at the Ambassador Hotel Theater in L.A. The Power of Love in 3D.
Yes,
so, pretty cool.
1922. That's crazy.
That's it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I haven't looked at this because I literally have to drag out my VCR from the basement. But this reminds me of it. I found a tape. So I have a lot of blank tapes that I don't know what's on it. Most likely it's like old TV shows. I just taped off TV, and I just didn't label them. I did already put all my ones from. So Paul, when you're listening to this, I did find all of our movies we made at De Anza and San Francisco State. So those movies are gems. I'm gonna have to burn those to a DVD or something. But I found a tape that was labeled Thursday Night 3D. So that must have been one of the nights when I guess one of the channels did like a 3D night. I don't think it's the original one I had mentioned. I want to say it's probably some kind of sitcom-y one or something. But so that I gotta dig up the VCR and check out what that is, because I'm like, wow, that's so funny because we were just talking about something like that. And so yeah, so I'll report back when I get through those things. It's funny because I actually still do own a VCR, but. So, not that it's hooked up or anything, but I will hook it up temporarily to go through some of my old video.
That would be amazing. Just to see the commercials alone would be priceless.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, if I had more time, I would have probably literally gone through every one of these things to scour some great commercials like that, because, sometimes you find hidden gems. Like I always have all the multiple copies of Star Wars holiday specials that you get, and those commercials on there were great. But so I'm interested to see what this thing is. So I'll report back.
Well, the trivia question for this week: there are 2 movies being shown at the theater in town earlier in the movie. you could see them on the marquee. And they were significant for a reason. What's the significance of the two films being shown in town?
Yeah, and it's so funny because so many times I watch this movie, I kind of forget. So this is...
we're not talking about Snow White, which features prominently in the film. This is the two movies that were playing earlier. So,
right,
yep.
And that part's great, by the way, that Snow White scene where they're all just singing hi, they're high.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten about that part, and I was just sitting there dying laughing today watching that.
Yeah, well, that's such a great whole sequence when they come that they just and they blow up the theater and everything. There was definitely like the fact that you said it was such a low budget. That's crazy when you think of some of the sequences that were in that movie. Guess things were cheaper then.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite '80s movies of all time. It's just a classic.
Yes, yeah. So if you guys seriously, if you have not seen it yet, or like Tim said, not in a while at least, do yourself. It's on Netflix now, so you have no excuse. I know everyone pretty much has Netflix now, so just pop it on there and.
Oh, I forgot. I did forget to mention one part that I meant to talk about, and that was a scene where Phoebe Cates talks about her dad.
Oh, right,
stuck in the chimney. She has this crazy monologue where she talks about how her dad died while dressing up as Santa Claus and trying to come down the chimney to surprise her, and it's truly terrifying.
Oh, right, and actually, it's funny. She's part of the sequence. Yeah, the terrifying thing that freaked me out all the time, and the one when the gremlin is dressed up as the robber, and with the gun, and he comes up.
Oh yeah,
that used to scare me as a kid. That was the one part that used to scare me as a kid because it just freaked me out because it was like. It was just creepy looking, like this, and he was like this evil looking one. It's like, but yeah,
I don't know. So. It's pure nightmare fuel for your kids. But me and Brian turned out okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, years later we met, and now we have a award-winning podcast.
We use the term award-winning loosely.
Yeah, like probably no awards, and we didn't win anything. But you never know. Who knows? They do have podcast awards.
Oh, I guess we should talk about our upcoming plans. So,
right. Now, calm down, people. I know this may be devastating to some. But...
Yeah, so we've done 9 months of shows in a row now, and we haven't missed a week. So we are going to take a little bit of time off for the holidays. So we will be taking 3 weeks off in December. So that will still leave us time, though. If I had everything planned out right, that'll still leave us time to do 2 Christmas movies.
Yes, which we have planned for already. We think we have those planned.
Yeah, because we're going to be dropping a Christmas show on December 1st and December 8th. And then we'll be taking off the 15th, 22nd, and 29th, which is the days those 3 episodes would originally air.
And besides, on the 15th, who's going to be wanting to listen to Civil War when Last Jedi is coming out?
That's right.
Nobody's
and it works out perfectly, and it falls in with Hanukkah and Christmas, so everything works out perfectly.
Now
we'll be back on the 5th.
Yeah, and now we did talk about possibly, if there is time, we may drop in like one of those weeks. We may drop in maybe like a bonus episode of a commentary or something. So it may not be definitely 3. There just won't be any traditional shows. Right, for 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah, just a little break there. But, we'll be back for the new year, fresh and ready to go.
Just don't forget about us in that time, I mean, because, Poor Blart 2 doesn't give away itself, I mean, we need some participation.
All right, guys, so we'll leave you with a short show this week, and see you back here next week.
It is short for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, check that out, see? I should get tired more often for the sake of the listener.
See, Kenny, we can make a short show.
Yeah, we got mocked by our good friend Kenny there. He was saying, he goes, yeah, short show, ha, right? Well, there we go. As I elongated further by rambling on. But okay, we'll end it here then.
Night, guys.
Take it easy.